The Libyan interim minister has resigned in protest at criticism over the government's failure to stop sectarian violence. This comes after Suffi religious sites were destroyed by armed Salafi Islamists, the latest attacks in a string of similar assaults. Well, for more on this, I'm now joined by Abayomi Azikiwe. He's the editor of Pan-African News. Well, the country is currently ruled by a newly elected General National Congress, which has failed to stop the recent violence. And one suggestion is that they aren't fully in control of security forces. Do they have any control over the country at all?
It definitely appears as if they've totally lost perspective in regard to what a national government should consist of. If you look at the situation that has transpired over the last several days, the fact of the matter that this mosque, these shrines could be destroyed in such a centralized location with so-called security forces standing around observing it and ostensibly supervising the destruction of these religious sites clearly indicates that the former NTC rebel government, which has now calls itself the General National Council, is not presiding over a lawful society. In fact, they're presiding over a lawless society, and it appears as if they have no clue in regard to how to put together a functioning, at least federalized system of government.
So you're suggesting that the security forces are implicated in this latest sectarian tension. That does beg you to wonder whether you'll ever get any peace in Libya, bearing in mind all the sectarian clashes that have been existing recently.
Well, yes, there has to be some type of patriotic national alliance put together inside the country. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have these militias and these various armed bands which are roaming not only areas outside the capital, but inside of Tripoli itself. We also have to keep in mind that there's a lot of consternation about the lack of services inside the country, the overall lack of security in Libya, and also the large-scale unemployment and the economic downturn which has taken place there since the overthrow of the Gaddafi government late last year. Also, there have been attacks by the Libyan loyalists who still remain very much allied with the Jamahiriya, the former government which had ruled there for some 42 years. Just a week and a half ago, there were several bomb attacks in Tripoli and also in Benghazi, which the government now, which is a US-backed regime, blamed on the loyalists for the former government. It appears as if also that there are other militias that are operating that are still loyal to the Gaddafi government. This new government that's in power now claim that they captured a tank regiment consisting of some 100 armored vehicles that they claim were loyal to the previous rulers under Muammar Gaddafi. So it's clearly a situation where there's no real centralized system of authority and governance inside Libya.
And talking about those loyal to the Gaddafi regime, of course, will tensions now be stirred up even further, bearing in mind the fact that Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, will be tried in Libya? It's now been confirmed.
It's clearly a travesty of justice. There's nowhere in the world that he can receive a fair trial in Libya. They haven't even established sound judicial institutions. There's no really clear-cut line of military or security authorities. So how can he get a fair trial inside of Libya, considering the prevailing situation that exists right now inside the country? The International Criminal Court, which also had warrants out not only for his late father, who was assassinated last October, but also against Saif al-Islam. And when a delegation from the ICC traveled to Libya several months ago and met with him, they were captured and held in detention by one of the militias in Zintan. So there's no way in the world that Saif al-Islam can get a fair trial inside of Libya. And we hear nothing about this travesty of justice coming from the United States or the United Nations, which played such a key role in the bombing last year of Libya, as well as the overthrow of the government and the installation and the ongoing support by these entities in the West for this lawless government that claims to be in power right now inside of this North African state.
Abayomi, thank you very much for your thoughts. Abayomi Azikiwe, the editor of Pan African News, joining me live there from Detroit.